Be dead.
Hell yeah, barroom banter. So check this out. Man, in like, what was it, 1914, this dude, he gets in a fight with his girlfriend's brother, right? And they go out in the fucking yard and they start fighting. He pulls out a gun and he fucking shoots him. The brother does. Shoots him. Hits him in the face, man. The dude falls. Well, the bullet gets lodged in this fucking tree. And the brother's like, damn, man, I feel fucking bad. I wasn't trying to kill him, man. Fucking takes his own life, right? So dude gets up off the ground. He got shot. He just got grazed in the face with the bullet, right?
Okay.
So, man, he's living with his guilt for 6 fucking years, right? So he's like, fuck this tree. He goes out in the fucking yard and he takes dynamite and he straps it to this fucking tree and he blows this fucking tree up, right?
I thought it was going to be like a Romeo and Juliet story where he killed himself
Right.
after killing. Yeah, I
Right.
got you. Okay.
But check this out. That fucking bullet that was lodged in the tree when he blew it up with the dynamite fucking came spitting out, fucking killed him.
Holy shit.
Yeah, true story too.
What?
This is a real story.
The guy got killed by the tree that he tried to exact revenge on?
Yeah.
Somebody carved their name into that way too hard.
Dude. Check this out. I got another one for you.
Let's go.
Did you know that the first person to die building the Hoover Dam had the same name as the last person to die building the Hoover Dam?
Related?
Yeah, father and son.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
So they're in the entire construction of the
maybe
Hoover
they
Dam.
weren't the first or last, but they were the first and last recorded for sure.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
okay. That's nice in the middle because there's really no telling back then when it was built.
Yeah, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people that fucking fell in there and died.
But
dude.
based on history, which is to the victors, or at least the ones recording it,
Oh, absolutely.
we know that the Hoover Dam's entire construction was between a father and son. It's kind of a beautiful
It's
story.
fucking nuts, huh?
That's kind of a beautiful story. I like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked up.
It is fucked up. Yeah.
Hey, you know, we've talked about like, and you've heard about like, the Baron Trump, like the book, and how fucking
Absolutely.
well, to check this out,
He's future president.
did you know there's also another one that happened with Edgar Allan Poe?
Okay. I haven't heard of this one, I don't think. I've heard of the Elon Musk one and the Baron Trump one, which are kind of coinciding with nowadays. So,
Yeah, so
what's the Edgar Allan Poe one?
He was he wrote a story about a crew that went out on a sailing and they fucking got in a shipwreck, right?
Okay.
And they were stranded there and they had to resort to cannibalism.
This sounds like a familiar story to me.
So check this out.
Let's go. Yeah, keep going.
46 years later, I forget the news name, Robert Woods or something like that. Well, he was in the book and he was also on the same ship that wrecked 46 years later. Same dude. And they had to resort to cannibalism and eat one of their crew.
Okay, so he was cannibalism number 1 and number 2?
He was in the book. The story happened 46 years before it actually happened.
Okay,
but it actually did happen.
I understand now. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it happened once to the same guy and then happened again 46 years later.
No,
Okay,
it was a fictional story.
That's insane.
Dude, and then someone like
We're in a
commented, because
simulation.
I said something about this on TikTok, and somebody commented and said something about the Titanic, that it was actually a book
Yes.
before
I've heard this. Yes,
the
absolutely.
wreckage.
It
So
was
it's almost
a-
like manifested,
it-
or
it
was
was
it
a
just an
vague
idea on the Titanic? Like,
But how many books and how many stories have been told before something similar happens? And it wasn't the book's name, like it wasn't Titanic. I think it was Titanica.
Titanic, yeah, maybe.
just to throw a little difference out there. And like how many books were made about a ship sinking that had all types of different names
Sure.
that involved a larger ship?
Sure, absolutely.
I can't, well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but it is a very,
Well, that's a whole conspiracy in itself, the Titanic.
we mentioned the Baron and the Elon Musk. And let's go over that real quick so any listeners can understand. The Baron reference was insane because there was a book written in the early 1930s.
I think it was like late 1800s, like
Okay.
1897 or something
Okay,
like that.
yeah, it was
Adventures of Baron Trump or whatever it was called.
before Baron Trump ever existed.
Yes,
and
which Baron Trump is Donald Trump's son.
It's
Yeah.
Donald Trump in real life, and
Yeah.
nowadays 2025, Baron Trump is the son of Donald Trump, President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
There was a book written back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, in that span, which regardless
yeah,
of when it
yeah,
was,
yeah.
it's insane that this story exists. There was a boy named Baron, and in the book, he was more or less mentored by a man named Don.
Yep.
And it was his adventures of like an underground city that he went and became like the leader of.
Yep.
What? In a large city, underground city. We're talking about New York City, obviously, because that's Trump City. That's Baron Trump City.
Are we? Who knows? Underground city, man. Have they been building tunnels under America for like ever now?
I believe this because they've had the technology and the means to the time to. From the time that hidden things were in America, like Cheyenne Mountain in Colorado, which has an underground bunker, which is where that's where NORAD
Right.
is,
Yep.
our most important satellite defense system. That's where that's based. That's also where the presidential bunker is if we were to get attacked by nuclear weapons, that's where the president goes to, is in the bunker at Cheyenne,
Yep.
in the center of the country away from the coast. So from that point, way underground that was built in what, like the 1950s they started? Maybe
Not sure when it was.
It was right when the nuclear bomb was invented. So we're talking like right
I feel like
post World War II. We dropped the bomb, noticed what it can do,
and we're like,
damn,
fuck.
we need to find somewhere underground that can protect us from this place. We chose the center of the country, Colorado. Cheyenne had a big ass mountain, and they bored into it and made an underground facility that we could only imagine. I dated a girl actually in like 2012, 2011 for a short time that actually her stepdad that came down, and I met him. He came down from Nellis Air Force Base, and he was, I'm not going to be able to remember his actual ranking, but way up there. Yeah. And he told me stories about, this is back like in early 2010s, of automatic like facial recognition guns, instances of Cheyenne. They can choose who or not, if they're if they're a threat,
absolutely.
if they're a threat just based on their face.
Well, like,
and it wouldn't even hesitate to just.
We already have facial recognition software programs and everything. The computers, like, police have had that forever. Like, they can ride by you in their fucking tail lights. Some of them, or headlights. Some of them have like fucking scanners. They hit your license plate, and it will be like, oh, this guy's fucking good.
They don't have to recognize that your sticker is 2 years old. They don't have to recognize that because the computer system is directly connected to the DMV, and it's going to just pick that up immediately.
They've had cameras forever, even though they've released shit like this. So once upon a time, like I was in a building, and they had a camera. And this was probably about 20 years ago, and they had a camera at this time that could zoom into a dime and tell you the date a mile away.
Yeah.
That's 15 years ago.
You already know what they have satellite wise.
Yeah, dude.
They can zoom in on somebody's tattoo on their shoulder.
Oh, dude. It's fucking nuts, dude.
Yeah.
And imagine what we can shoot up into space.
And that's what we know about.
Imagine what we can shoot up into space with all these DEWs and these direct energy weapons. And
this makes me want to talk about the recent quantum teleportation they just did.
What do you mean?
Okay, so the last couple of weeks, they did the very first evidence of quantum teleportation between two computer systems. Okay, when we think about between two computer systems, we think about like Wi-Fi or internet. We think about the World Wide Web. It's all connected through like radio, like waves.
Waves, sure.
Not radio waves, but however they do it. Yeah. I'm not educated. I didn't invent it. I don't know how Wi-Fi works, but I know it works. This is not that. There's two quantum computers, which you've heard a little bit about, like how fast they compute and stuff. Well, it's going to change the world. It's AI based and it's quantum computing. What they did though is they were able to communicate from one side of the earth to the other, country from country. It was a long distance away, where one computer was able to transfer data to the other one instantaneously. And what that means is, as soon as that computer received it, the first computer is instantly on the other computer without any type of connection to one another.
So it wasn't even a delayed reaction. It was just straight.
Not even delayed.
That's so cool, because that'd make video so fucking much better. Like your lips and the sound would just match. Like if you,
honestly,
that's on do it from a distance.
That's on the very bottom ground level totem pole. What this thing can do,
dude. I know, but I'm just thinking in my head of what I'd want it for.
Well, absolutely, Mr. Podcast Man. So what we're looking at is the very first step to transferring matter across space.
Dude, yeah, that's
instantly.
Nuts. Well. And if we can transfer matter, that means we can teleport ourselves.
Exactly.
Yes. And that would be so fucking cool. Beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, it was years ago.
Like, how did we know Star Trek was going to be real?
And we're talking about, while we're talking about Star Trek, they didn't even know that phones were happening. It was very interesting on how much they were right about with like healing apparatuses. We have 3D printers now that can actually reprint skin grafts and stuff. And it's amazing like that. And they thought of that in that movie, but yet Captain Kirk was still talking on a walkie-talkie.
Yeah, right. Can't just think about it.
No, absolutely.
Now, when you can communicate through your minds, you just have like a chip in your head or something. You know what I mean?
Like, exactly.
We're getting there.
We're going to look at the wall and project a screen.
Should we not already be there? Because like the CIA with some of their shit, man. Like, should we not already be there? Like, go out of our mind, right?
I'm sorry, sir. Are you talking about astral projection?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I've got a story for you.
All right. Let's hear it.
Do me a favor and look up the Monroe Institute. This was discovered and funded by the CIA back in the late 1960s. There's a guy named Robert, and his name's going to pop up in this story. You can type in Monroe Institute and CIA right after it, and maybe even files, but it's going to pop up. Gateway, any of that. So this has been proven.
Oh, yeah.
It is government. Look at this. And anybody listening can see this. It is very easy. You just type it in. Look at the address of the website is cia.gov.
Do you know who's actually doing this right now?
Yes, everybody.
No, I mean, I'm saying actually going through like the steps of trying to.
It's called Gateway.
The Gateway steps. Yes, who's going through that right now?
Who is this?
John. He said he's been doing it for like the last 2 weeks.
Our friend John.
Yeah, he said he's done it before. This is a big thing for him.
I think that I could do this.
It's a big thing for him. He said that when he was like halfway in this trance right now, like just a few days ago, his son ended up calling him, right? And while he was in this trance, and it just freaking scared the shit out of him. He was like, I freaked out.
A friend that's passed or a friend?
No,
that's,
no, no, no.
okay.
He was doing like the meditation.
The gateway.
Yeah.
It's the gateway.
And his son called him and his phone started ringing. So he just, it freaked him out. It scared him. He said,
so I've experienced this without trying. I've been states away. I've been hours away and had a feeling that something's wrong. We've all done this.
I've had dreams.
We've had a feeling that someone needs something or something, and then your phone rings and it's that person. Or you call that person and they're like,
I have intuition sometimes.
Okay, yes, this is that. Apparently we are all capable of doing this, and it's insane. Like I said, we are on CIA.gov. This is the approved release of the Gateway Experience. It's the brain hemisphere synchronization and perspective, which sounds so fancy to say. Use your head to look far. All right, it's a perspective. The introduction. In order to describe Monroe Institute and technique, it's an altered state of consciousness. This is CIA.gov. Okay, this is still blowing my mind. It's involving brain hemisphere and synchronization, or hemisync. It's the most effective way to begin. Okay, so this is what it's teaching you: hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. We know what hypnosis is. Transcendental meditation is astral projection.
Yes.
Okay.
It's when you're leaving your body.
Leaving your body. And then biofeedback is being able to actually feel other people within their body.
Yes.
So if I close my eyes and imagine where you're hurting right now, if you had an ailment, say you had liver disease and I didn't know that, I could focus. I would do the transcendental meditation, and I could like feel within my body where you're hurting at and tell you what you need to go get checked out in the doctor, which is absolutely insane.
That's crazy. You know, and like, I feel like I've done this before in a few instances, and like, you know, I've literally, before my mother came over when I was a kid and told me that my father had passed away, I already dreamt this. So when I woke up, I was coming down the stairs and I told her, I was like, oh, he's dead, you know, and they're all like, yo, you're not crying and whatnot. But I already knew it happened. I already went through it. I already fucking felt it. You know what I mean? And I feel like I did that. Like, this is crazy though. All that shit that.
Have you ever had an out of body experience at all?
I feel like, I don't know about out of body. I feel like I've felt my past before and I played it and I fucking was in the Civil War, dude. And this is no fucking shit. I've had this fucking dream and I kept running back and I was fucking hiding behind these logs and shit. And I was shooting and I was getting up and I have to run back because the fucking enemy just kept fucking coming up on us. Right.
Yes.
And it finally got to us to where now we're fucking fighting. And I fucking have a fucking sword. I'm taking the sword and fucking fighting with this dude. And I get fucking stuck with a bayonet. Boom.
Yes.
And fucking, I end up killing this dude though. And fucking, I remember sliding on my knees in victory and shit.
How long was your dream?
And I woke up. Oh man, it seemed like
days.
It was a whole thing. Yeah.
At least a full day.
Yeah. And fucking, I wake up and that fucking pain was there for fucking a month or two, dude.
Jesus.
That fucking pain was there and I fucking felt it and I fucking got hit with that bayonet and I lived. But that was my fucking past.
Yeah.
I felt it.
So I've had a very similar, I've told somebody about this dream before, and it's an insane dream. I was probably 14, 15 years old. Okay. No life experiences, still living at home with my mom and dad. I had a dream where I was in a house that I grew up in, which seems relative because your mind is able to make like recognitions and it would build a construct on what you realize. But the story, the narrative, I feel like is very specific. I was in the kitchen making food and the back sliding glass door opened up. And immediately I was alarmed because I was married at the time, which being 14 or 15 obviously didn't exist yet. I wasn't married, but in the dream I was married. And I was immediately alarmed to protect my house because my back door shouldn't have opened. And not no context, I shouldn't have been alarmed, but it's just a feeling I had in the dream. The door slides open. I walk over to it. It's an intruder with a mask. The intruder attacks me. We scuffle. I get knocked down, and the intruder shoots me in the forehead. And in the dream, I'm still looking up after I get shot, and I see the intruder lean over me and shoot again and hit me in the forehead. Now this time, you would expect to wake up because if you die in your dream, you wake up.
Right. I don't know. I never died in my dream.
I died in this dream. I woke up as a spirit.
You're supposed to die
in the same house. And the intruder, I feel like years have passed. And the intruder is now still in the house and without a mask. And somehow I still know that person. Like I knew that was the intruder. That's the person that killed me. And I was a spirit in the house trying to convince the intruder that the wife that he's with, that was my ex-wife. Like I was trying to convince her that that's the person that killed me.
Okay.
I woke up, what felt like weeks had gone by. I woke up and had the biggest headache, but on one side of my head. That's crazy. It was right where I got shot at.
Do you think that was you? Do you think that was you in a past life? Do you think that was somebody else and you like just astroplaned into their fucking history? Like there was
I
this little girl, remember?
yeah
That fucking little girl that
with the
fucking
birthmark.
I don't know if she had a birthmark, but she told people where this fucking woman's remains would be,
Yes,
you know?
that's what
And they
we're
were
gonna
like,
get into.
maybe it was
Yes,
her in a past life, or maybe she just fucking went into another plane and
yeah,
felt them and picked up with their energy and fucking like because maybe energy is like water almost, like how you can take water over here and you can take water over here and it's gonna fucking find itself
yes,
together. That's the same thing with energy. So now if two energies are passing, they're gonna combine. It's the same thing. Like if I take your fucking life with my hands,
yeah,
I'm becoming more powerful.
yeah.
Whether you believe it or not, I am. I'm feeling it. Like
Do me a favor and look up Robert.
energy transfer is real. When
I
you
mean,
die, you lose a couple like
yes.
you lose a couple grams.
There's this guy from the Monroe Institute at the beginning of the Monroe Institute. He was
Monroe,
a Navy
Monroe.
he was a Navy SEAL during early Vietnam and during the war when they started this very intensive psychedelic like investigation among people. Okay, there was this Navy SEAL Special Forces guy
It's amazing how many programs.
that was picked out by the creator of the Monroe Institute. The Monroe Institute, let me back up actually real quick. The Monroe Institute is an institute that actually helps gifted individuals master their skills for remote viewing and astral projection and all the psychic abilities that we have apparently from day one. We don't even know that we can manage. Some people are better than others. These are where the school where these people go, and the CIA like brings them in.
Okay, recruits them.
That's why it's funded by the CIA. This entire institute is funded by the CIA, and it's all in their documents and proven. That's what we're going to pull up earlier, but I realized there's like 100 documents to go through. Anyways, this guy, I'm not going to be able to remember his last name, but Robert, in the early 60s, like I said, Special Forces, he was picked out because they did a thought experiment of whenever somebody is in a job position that should only have a certain amount of years life expectancy. Say you're in a Special Forces, you probably shouldn't be still doing that 16 years later without any type of near-death experiences. If you live that long without any, if you've been on this many missions and these many dangerous situations
and you've never had a near-death experience
and you've never died,
you're a fucking badass.
or you have intuition and can survive.
Something, man.
And that's like, their thought process. Fuck. So they took a group of names of people that have been in the industry and been operators for so long without dying and started interviewing them and testing them. They found one guy. They found more than one, but this one guy specifically is very interesting. His name's Robert. His last name starts with an M, but I can't remember. But he actually got tested, scored way above, and was brought into the Monroe Institute. This guy was in doubts. There was an admiral. This man he went in skeptical, thought something was a little bit different about him, but was still skeptical of that like woo woo nonsense that everybody would be. They're still now until
the woo or the Wuhan.
The woo woo.
Can't fuck with Wuhan.
Can't fuck with Wuhan.
Not on fucking YouTube. Huh?
Bet will fucking pangle it and change your entire life. So this guy Robert, he goes through the testing. He gets passed, and he's being studied by the Monroe Institute, and it's the beginning of the Monroe Institute. They just started. And what the insane story though is his most memorable remote viewing. After he was convinced that he could do it, he would receive calls. The U.S. government was monitoring a Russian building off the coast of Crimea, I believe. It might be another coast, but my memory serves me right. It might have been Crimea. And they're looking at this building, and everyone that's watching it sees major triple barbed wire around the edges. They see a lot of guards walking around with dogs, and it's constant 24-hour surveillance. And it's the beginning of the Cold War. And we're wondering what is going on. What is this? Why is this building more guarded than most buildings? Keep in mind, this building is like a few kilometers away from the nearest water's edge. All right. Robert gets tasked with remote viewing this building and trying to figure out what it is. He looks at it. He tells them, he looked at it for like 3 days. And his remote viewing process, which is in the CIA handbook of how to do, which is absolutely insane that it's declassified.
And you can actually check it out, and anybody can do this if you have the patience. And
it's on CIA.gov.
They give you the knowledge.
It's absolutely insane. It's out there. He does this process, and he remote views it for 3 days, and he comes back and says that there is a Russian submarine that is a class larger than any submarine ever made. It's a nuclear submarine with the capability of launching multiple nuclear weapons without reaching the surface of the water, and it can cavitate them at certain angles to make them reach, and it would only give us 20 minutes of knowledge before it hit us. It is 2 football fields long. It has a capsule top with a flat metal in between and a capsule bottom. And he does this, and he tells them that it's in this building, and that's what they're doing. He sends that in after being asked to look into it, and the guy in charge looks at it and says, okay, that seems like a fantasy. Sends it off to his experts. The experts say, That design that you just described to us is absolutely impossible. It couldn't handle the depths. There's no way to engineer it. That doesn't make sense. This isn't true. So it gets sent back to Robert, and he's pissed. His ego takes a hit. He knows it's true. He just looked at it for 3 days straight. He writes on the report below where it says that this is a fantasy. That was a response to his report. In the bottom, in handwriting, it said, this is fantasy. Below that, he writes, okay, well, it's going to happen in 120 days, whether you like it or not. 124 days, something like that. Sends it back. Okay, it was actually 112 days, because at 114 days, they sent a satellite over to look at it. The Russians have built a canal a few kilometers from the ocean to that building, and now have a 2 football field long submarine with the exact descriptions that he described sitting in the canal next to the building that they were watching. And that was 114 days later. He told them that it would be launched on 112. They started monitoring it and watched these guys loading nuclear bombs onto it. And guess what? Guess what submarine this is? You ever heard of the movie The Hunt for Red October?
Jeez, yes.
It's that submarine.
No shit.
The movie was made about it. This guy 3 months away, 4 months away, told them that that's what they were building. They made a joke out of it. And he was 100% down to the details of the day that it was, the exact day that it was launched into the water. Got it right.
That's fucking nuts.
From sitting inside of an American facility somewhere.
That's fucking nuts.
This happened for years with this guy. There was a satellite that crashed back in the early 70s. I think it was 73, 74. There was a satellite crash. It was called Skylab's. I'm sure you probably heard that reference. Skylab's satellite. It was coming down, and they didn't know, because our telemetry is not to the point that it is nowadays. We didn't know exactly when or where it was coming down at. Somebody reached out to him, not necessarily NASA, but somebody reached out to them, and it was just like, where do you think it's going to happen? Him still trying to test himself, because it's still in his early days. This was before the submarine. It's just the second most interesting story that he did. He put himself to the task of trying to figure out where it is and when it's going to come down. So it came down about 6 days away from where he thought it was going to come down in. Keep in mind, this is a satellite traveling at 17,000 miles per hour in the orbit of the Earth and crashing through the surface. And they didn't know exactly when or where it's going to come down at, because it had lost control in the early 70s. We're talking like...
Whose satellite was it?
It was US Skylab's.
You said Skylab's.
Yes, yeah. It was a US satellite. What was interesting, he was 6 days off. They were guessing months. That's interesting. That's a pretty good guess. What's even more interesting is if you were to drop a pin from the point in Australia that he picked that it was going to land, he was only 30 miles away.
That's crazy.
And they had no idea where, and they didn't even know if it was going to be north or southern hemisphere.
I mean, so he wasn't perfect, but that's fucking great.
It's absolutely insane.
That's fucking insane, dude.
This is all documented on the CIA website.
Oh, absolutely. This shit's crazy, dude. This shit, and yeah, that's something they believe in. That's something they've done. That's something that is proven to be real.
And we only decided to start doing it because the Russians were discovered to have been, and like they were devoting millions of dollars into researching it.
And their whole fucking like thought process on like death.
It's almost Vikingness. There's more that goes on.
It's like energy just fucking going into one collective. Like, and that would be considered, I guess, what you would have as God. You know how we were talking about those books earlier and how like maybe it was like time travel back. Maybe they just saw something in the future. They took themselves out of their body. Maybe they were, because Edgar Allan Poe, wasn't he part of like the Masons and all that? And they have some weird kind of rituals. Maybe they're using like astral projection. Maybe they're leaving their bodies. Maybe they're doing something unworldly, and maybe they're even going to another world to where like maybe some aliens, like what I'm talking about. Like aliens are crazy too. Like I can't believe that we're the only civilization.
No,
like,
of course not.
And when it comes down to it, like, did you see this shit like 2-3 weeks with this technology? And it was in Egypt. So they were looking at the pyramids and they were looking underground. So what they did was they took like this vibrational pattern of the light and they switched it into sound, because going through rock, sound is just a lot more easy to get through than light is.
And sand is much easier than rock.
Yeah. So they were going, well, all that shit down there was like sand, concrete, like rocks and shit. Yeah. And limestone's really not a good conductor. So what it is they have like these spirals that fucking tubes, right? They go like this crazy depth down, right? And
2.5 kilometers, if I remember right.
Yeah, 2.5 kilometers. And then they open up into these fucking chambers that are like these huge fucking chambers. So inside of it, it's made from granite, right? And granite has quartz in it. And when you use like vibrational sound patterns, quartz is actually a conductor of energy, electricity, or a conductor of energy and shit. So on the outside of the pyramids, it's limestone. which is not a conductor. It's keeping it all in. Inside,
it's an insulator.
It's the granite.
Yeah.
Right. So, and they have these hollow chambers. What I'm thinking with these things, man, is maybe they use these things as like the underground waters. You know, they have like a big, huge underground fucking water going through, right?
Yeah, aquifer.
Yeah. And so maybe they use these vibrational patterns of the earth, like the water actually rushing, to create a frequency that they put like that they can contain, and either blast it off in like a frequency that's sending off into the universe and being like
Pleiades,
like
specifically Pleiades.
Yeah, or maybe it's creating enough energy from the frequency, from the vibration, that it's powering, like it's a power plant for everything.
So that's what I think. So I think
it's a power plant.
I really do. Honestly, without any of the recent discoveries that were made about like the columns coming down with the spirals coming around it, and that before those were ever discovered, which were very recent discovery, it's been a long-standing theory
that there was something underneath.
Something.
Or that it was a power plant.
A power plant.
Yeah,
because you're looking at something that was made in granite, which, by the way, granite is a very good conductor.
But
it's full of granite is full of quartz, and granite is what made up the structure of the pyramids. And we have evidence that the pyramids were covered in limestone. By the way, limestone is not a good conductor. So you're looking at an insulator. When you quarry these rocks 500 miles away and move them to a spot in the middle of, which was most likely a rainforest at the time, you put that work in. You did it for a reason.
So actually,
and it wasn't a tomb because there's not a single inscription.
They did like this overhead aerial pattern, and it kind of proved that there was a river that ran right by the pyramids at the time. Like all these pyramids, and there's a lot of other pyramids, but these grand pyramids too. It ran by like these 40 other
pyramids like them.
Yeah, but there's like the other pyramids had
the Valley of the Kings
had fucking bodies in
and
them.
they had inscriptions inside of them,
and they didn't have these open chambers that were leading like that.
But they were decorated inside with hieroglyphics to the top, bottom to the top.
But now check this out. Now, what if they were taking that energy, like they were, using astral projection, but they were focusing it through all that energy through that pyramid
to communicate?
It's
a theory.
Like, that's my theory.
It is a theory.
That's fucking nuts.
And there might be a reason why they are completely aligned, like
absolutely,
with
stars,
with complete perfect north, and with the Orion belt through the Pleiades system.
Yeah.
How did they know to do that? Why are they completely perfectly aligned north south?
How could they even do that unless it was some intelligence that was far beyond what we have? And it could have been like another people just like us. It could have been because we could have started over 15 times. You never know how many cataclysmic events
we're talking about now is perfect. It's perfect to bring up because what we're talking about is the possible. It was 12,000 years ago. The Younger Dryas impact theory.
What's that? The Younger Dryas impact theory?
You haven't heard of the Younger Dryas impact theory? So what that is
like a meteor crater, like hit, or an asteroid hit, or
very
something?
Very similar. Yes, a comet. There's a theory that there was a comet landed in somewhere in like North America, which is why you look at the map. And if you look at the map of the Arctic, there's just a bunch of islands spread apart by water. It's just a huge broken part of Earth. Okay. Might be the reason why Antarctica, which is in the South Pole, is so much bigger because it wasn't completely obliterated. And it's around the same time. It is 100% fact that the Younger Dryas period is a period of glacier melt, exiting the ice age rapidly, way more rapidly than normal, and raising and sea level.
And actually, like, makes sense. It would flip, your polar and whatnot. You could create polar shift and then just melt ice because of the impact, And
we're talking about a time that water melted within a couple thousand years compared to over 14,000.
Well, how long do you think it took to make the Grand Canyon? It had to be more than
millions.
Yeah. And that was once upon a time. They say that Arizona was underwater.
Yes, and of course it was. Yes, that is. I mean, just like the Sahara Desert was once a rainforest, and that's around the same time that it was.
And some of these like ancient like cultures. Did you know, 1908, I think it was, G.E. Kincaid. They were okay. It was 1909. So
talk about the Smithsonian secret.
So Roosevelt just fucking was closing down fucking the Grand Canyon, saying, okay, this is the last year that you're going to be able to fucking go down. So G.E. Kincaid, he's like, I'm going down here. I'm going to see if I can find mineral deposits. I'm going to make some fucking money.
Okay.
He's going down. He's floating down the Colorado. He gets up to like near like what's that fucking shit? Like Antelope Canyon area.
Yeah. Okay.
And shit, the east side.
Supposedly. Somewhere in the Grand Canyon.
Somewhere. So Marble Canyon. Maybe it was near Marble Canyon, right? Okay. So he sees this. He looks up and he sees this discoloration in the rock, and it was way up there. So this motherfucker gets out of his fucking boat and he fucking climbs up this fucking rock. And it's no easy task. This motherfucker's going all day, and he fucking finally gets up this rock. And he starts seeing these stairs, like these fucking cut out stairs.
Obviously not natural formation stairs. Yes.
And he walks up these stairs, And he goes inside, and there's this big cave opening, and it fucking tapers back, and it's going fucking some ways back, and before he goes in, he like pulls out his gun, he has his flashlight, and he's going in, and he's searching through this area, and he finds Egyptian hieroglyphs, but they're not quite Egyptian. But they're weird, but they're more Egyptian than we have anything else.
To his mind, at the the day, it was most closely related to Egyptian.
So then he goes further back into these fucking cavern, and he finds this room. And he ends up getting people to come back. He tells us the newspaper puts it in. This Smithsonian comes, and they come in and they find this cavern, and it has this huge statue, right? And it looks almost Buddhist, but it's not quite Buddhist either. So it's got like Egyptian hieroglyphs with like a Buddhist looking statue. And this shit's held like 20 to 50,000 people. And they found like seeds still in all these fucking pottery and like all these fucking mummies and all this crazy shit in there. And they had it in the newspaper, but they were quickly told to fucking react to the article. Take it back. The Smithsonian started fucking denying everything. And it all makes sense because Smithsonian can't have the history being different because they don't want to change all the history books and be fucked out of religion.
It's a change in the narrative.
Yeah, and it's so much. Yeah, and so they just keep covering shit like that up. But it's like, how are they drilling into these fucking like perfect like cuts into these fucking rocks in the side of the fucking canyons that this motherfucker had to go? And I get that once upon a time it was probably like water level because water just kept cutting through the Grand Canyon. But like, how many years ago was that?
Well, I mean, I'm pretty sure Google popped up a few minutes ago that the Grand Canyon has been around for 5 to 6 million years.
Yeah, at least.
At least. So if you could imagine 2.5 million years ago, that water level was much lower than it is today, but it's still, or it was much higher than it is today to cut that canyon out. Because now it's down at the very bottom. It started way at the top.
Yep.
It was cutting it out. So say if it's been around for 5 to 6 million years ago, then 3 million years ago,
but that makes you think
halfway.
But that makes you think, how would the pyramids be then? Maybe they were about the same time period.
So that's
2.5 million years ago.
That's the argument. That's where you get Robert Schoch. Robert Schoch is the gentleman that suggested, he's a geologist that suggested after looking at the Sphinx in Cairo, Egypt, that the watermarks on the side of the Sphinx suggest that
there's been underwater.
A few thousand years of rainfall and floods.
Yep.
And the last time that's happened was around 14,000 years ago.
And that's fucking nuts. Huh?
And that's about 10,000 years older than what your typical narrative suggesting that the Egyptians built the pyramid and the Sphinx.
That just shows you dinosaurs were probably way before we even thought they were.
Yes. But I can talk to you about the oh my God. Okay. We'll talk about the dinosaurs and us being alive at the same time here in a second. There's proof. There is.
I saw that show. What? Not the mama.
It's in India. So, but what people like naysayers will say, like, oh, okay, you see those marks on the Sphinx, they're only shoulder down. What about the head up? First of all, we already know that the head up was remanufactured. We know that. It doesn't fit its body. It's so obvious.
It was cut out of what was already there, and it's smaller.
100%.
And you can tell that it's cut down, chiseled down to what it could be.
Yeah. But also, water level doesn't necessarily always go to the top. So if there was floods and heavy rainfall, who's to say that the heavy rainfall didn't end at the shoulder? Because there's not heavy rainfall on the pyramids themselves. But as far as like sea level goes and elevation goes, the pyramids are slightly higher than the Sphinx, almost level with the head.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that the head doesn't have the water destruction.
Well, the pyramids, once upon a time, they say had a gold cap on the very top.
Oh, it did.
That was removed. So that was removed. Who knows when? It could have been removed after it was rains, because it hasn't rained.
Well, it was mentioned in the text. It was mentioned that the top was capped with a golden top.
Yes. Yeah.
It was. I don't think we ever found any proof of it, but other than text,
once they realized that gold was something they could take, and I'm sure that and that's like a thing. Some people believe that like the Anunnaki came down and like genetically altered people, like the Cro-Magnon into the Human erectus, and they say there's a time gap of where it happened, where they can't explain it exactly. What happened is, they think these Anunnaki, these aliens came down and genetically altered people so that people could fucking mine minerals, gold whatnot for these aliens, for their whatever they needed for, because they didn't have enough.
That's the Zechariah Sitchin story, which which a lot of that has been discredited, because this is a guy in the 70s that he claimed that he
what's that Van Denken.
Well, Zechariah Sitchin claimed that he could decipher the Samaritan text. After years since then, and AI platforms and experts, they say that he has missed a lot. The only thing that gives credence to some of his stories are the hieroglyphs that he like personally interpreted, which shows like giants with like these monkey people sitting on their laps while giving them like little like pine cones, and the pine cones are thought to be the pineal gland, the pineal gland, pineal gland, which is where adrenaline is produced, and apparently where consciousness.
That's how you tap into it. Isn't that how you use your astral projection?
Well, me personally, I don't know, but it's been thought of. So, but like that's the thought, is that Zachariah Sitchin, that gives him the idea of that. But what's very interesting is all across the entire globe, there's this thought of like creation, right? One of the most common stories of creation, and it is very common across a lot of religions, which ancient religions is just stories told down from our creation from oldest times. People, whenever you believe something for long enough,
history is the winner who writes it.
Yes, correct. When something is so strongly believed for long enough, it gets carried with consistency.
Sure. Did you know the number one selling book?
The Bible.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So like when something is believed so thoroughly and so universally, it kind of it lasts the test of time. Whether it be Christianity, whether it be Hinduism.
The test of time, I don't know, man.
The biggest...
It will last until the next wave comes, the next cataclysmic event, the next destructive period, yes. The next time that they want to burn all history and change it, the next war that happens, history changes all the time.
Except for stories of religion.
Brother, hold on. Dark Ages, man. I know, that's where they took everything and they burned it, so no one knew. I
know we've been on the planet for hundreds of thousands, if not millions of years. I understand.
How many millions of years ago was there a different religion?
The history that we have recorded has been very consistent as far as his thought. What I'm going off of is our historical, like they believe that the gods lived amongst us, and that they died because they couldn't live here, but they created us in their image, which is a very common... Samaritans believe that their gods lived among them, and they were giants among humans, and that they created them in their image and worshipped, and that they worshipped these gods that lived along them.
Could that explain...
They couldn't survive here and died.
Could that explain how the pyramids were built? Giants?
Another subject. But watch what happens here. So the Samaritans believe that their gods lived here and died, all right? And that's a very, very basic story. But very commonly across all religions is that there is a God that created the underbeings, humans, as in their image, right?
Sure.
If we came from monkeys, why are we still here? Why are monkeys still monkeys? Why is there a large gap in our evolutionary brain function? Why is there a gap in brain function that doesn't explain evolutionarily as far as time-wise goes? Technically, from monkeys to us, it should take millions of years, but yet monkeys are still here. The point that I'm getting to is like there's a book in the Bible. It's called Genesis, and in Genesis it suggests that Adam's rib was used to create Eve. Eve was created from the rib of Adam, right? Colossal is a company that just invented they just reintroduced the dire wolf. The dire wolf has been extinct for like 11,000 years. This is a company that took a tooth that they found in a cave and a skull they found outside of the cave, the skull being 73,000 years old and the tooth 13,000 years old. And they recreated a creature, grew it from an embryo and grew it themselves. And they are like a year old almost now.
Okay, hold on. Now tell me what a fucking species that can fucking come from planet to planet and comes down here
and sees
can
monkeys,
do with us.
And sees monkeys.
Yeah, it can... No, not monkeys.
No, that's what I'm saying.
No, Cron Magnum. The fucking guys, cavemen.
Gigantic
and they took these fucking hairy cavemen and they took their scaly fucking bodies that had no hair and they fucking put it together and we got a little fucking hair now.
We're talking about the same thing, brother. Yeah. So that's come from the book of Genesis. What is Genesis so close to? Say the word genetic.
Well, I get it.
Genesis, genetic engineering.
I know. And so the whole Bible though itself was meant like taking stories from different things and switched those stories, like pagan religion stories, over to fucking Christianity to convert pagans over to Christianity easier because they don't even say Jesus was born in fucking
fault.
What he didn't die, but he didn't die in December. But here's the thing:
he wasn't born.
But here's the thing: is what happens December 22nd is
winter solstice.
Well, okay, and for 3 days out of the fucking year, the only 3 days it does is
three days of resurrection.
Yeah. On the 25th, Christmas, after that, it starts going back up. Boom. Like the days start getting longer now. fucking
they switched from paganism and brought it over to Christianity.
Yes, but they took the fucking Christian dates and switched them over to pagan dates to help convert the pagans over to Christianity. And they would say pagans are fucking devil worshippers. When pagans were people that were going, hey, I worship the trees, I worship the rocks, I worship the ground.
You're talking about the Roman the beginning of the Roman Catholic Church.
I was talking about the Bible itself, but
that's the beginning. That's Constantine that persecuted.
I thought it was Nero.
No, it was Constantine. It was Constantine that persecuted the entire paganism church that existed in Roman back then. And the five religions, honestly, what is the downfall of Roman? Is the Roman
also?
Well, it's the uprising of Roman Catholicism, but it is the downfall of the Roman society.
Roman Empire.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so we were going to touch on another subject. This one is very easily researched. It is called the Mountain Dew conspiracy. So, if you haven't heard about this, which you haven't, no?
Me? I don't know. Well, it's not ringing a bell. I can tell you that.
It's about to. It's going to remind you of all the flavors and everything that you've heard so far. It's the Mountain Dew name conspiracy, which is very interesting. What we're going to talk about is the fact that every time that the Mountain Dew release, I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a Simpsons situation. Every time they release a new flavor, a natural catastrophe or event happens. Usually catastrophe.
Really?
We're going to go through a list right here.
So that's more like the Madden curse than like the Simpson prediction.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So you remember the Mountain Dew Code Red?
Okay.
It came out about 3 to 4 months before 9/11.
Really?
Yes.
All right. That's one.
All right. Mountain Dew Maui Blast came out a few months before Maui burned to the ground.
Shh. Okay.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast came out about 3 or 4 months before a group of surfers inside of California were shot to death.
Shit.
On the Baja coast.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
We're gonna go through the newest one is Purple Blast, but I thought this was a list of the good ones.
Purple Blast.
I didn't read it.
Purple Blast.
We don't know what this one. We don't know what this one's going to do yet.
What do you mean? It hasn't already done it?
Not yet.
Oh,
World War III. What do you think? Because Purple Blast just came out about a month ago. Purple Blast,
dude. And I don't know what could be worse than the weather that we've been fucking having.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's called Purple Thunder.
Oh, dude, we've been
storms.
We've been having storms.
You think it's the storms?
Yeah, dude. They're fucking been
so
horrible.
Possible,
dude. You do realize that being in Prescott, we're like the only place in the world that hasn't fucking experienced this shit.
Yeah.
Like everybody else has been like, it's been fucking floods and rains and tornadoes.
Huge storms.
Half-mile long tornadoes, dude. This shit's fucking nuts.
I forget the name because
I hope there's nothing worse than that though. If you're telling me there's something coming up that's worse, oh fuck. Is that Donald Trump's fucking tariff attacks now? Next thing we know, we're gonna get fucking blown up. Boom. I fucking know China got some weather controlling machines that we don't know about because we got some, right? Fuck, dude.
There is actually a Mountain Dew flavor related to the Donald Trump election.
Really?
Yes.
And they missed him by an inch. What? Is that like a yellow colored, orange colored flavor? Like what, that orange man? Yeah. Like, what's been going on in this fucking country with the weather though? To get back to that?
Yes.
Like it's been fucking nuts this year, dude. Even before January 1st, but just since January 1st, the Midwest and the South has been getting fucked. Like, look at what happened to California as soon as fucking January came. Boom, the fucking fires happened. Like, right before that, with fucking North Carolina and Tennessee, fucking getting flooded out when they never get flooded out. And you're telling me that this is just natural disaster? You're not telling me there's some kind of HARP system, some kind of weather modification system. You're telling me they're not over cloud seeding. They're not fucking doing worse. They can't control the fucking thunder. They can't control the
They can control the weather, but not the actual weather.
I guarantee. Look, they had like mining rights that they were trying to get and buy out in what was it, like North Carolina, right? And or was it, yeah, and fucking they ended up saying they weren't going to sell or whatever, and then the natural disaster happens.
Yeah.
And
what's the chances?
What's the chances, dude? It hits that exact spot.
Honest.
What's the chances that in 2028 Gavin Newsom with his smart fucking city, with his fucking Marshall Plan, putting those rail systems in, what's the chances that the Palisades were going to fucking burn down?
Yeah.
When he declared that shit in 2000, like I think it was 18, 19, something like that, he declared that he was going to start the 2028 project.
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, and then all this shit happens. Gavin Newsom, not on the top of my list.
No.
Like,
I just kind of bring that story back up, the Mountain Dew conspiracy. Another example was the Star Spangled Banner blast, or no, it was Star Spangled Banner splash
really?
Flavor that came out. It came out 3 or 4 months before the boat hit the bridge, where all the bridge collapsed and all the cars splashed into the river. And guess what the name of that bridge was?
What?
Francis Scott Key Bridge.
Oh,
the Star Spangled Banner Splash.
And it came out right before.
Right before.
Dude,
that flavor, the
nuts.
Star Spangled Banner Splash.
Star Spangled Banner.
The Star Spangled Banner Splash came out a few months before the Francis Scott Key Bridge collapsed, where people fell into the water.
Did you know in like, I think it was like the 70s, they tried to change, like remix it. Remix it.
I could totally remix it.
It didn't work. It didn't work, dude. It didn't work.
It did not.
No, it's off.
Oh, of course not. Can we talk about the dire wolves? I know you seemed a little bit excited about it earlier when I told you dire wolves have been reintroduced. They've been recreated. They've been.
I feel like I've known that though. I feel like this happened.
Or that was you that actually got excited about that, or off camera.
I feel like that's happened like
researcher
a while ago though. The dire wolf thing,
very recent.
Like very recent.
Very recent.
Oh really?
There's a company. There's a company called Colossal. They are funded privately. A lot of
they're
celebrities.
so fucking cute too.
Oh, they are. You're so right. Yeah, a lot of like celebrities, like the Hemsworth, Brad Pitt, McConaughey. They are all investing in this company called Colossal, where they are taking AI technology software and using it to figure out the genome of extinct animals to the T.
Because AI would figure that shit out
way faster.
No, absolutely. What it would take me, you, and 1,000 mathematicians.
Yeah, exactly.
It would take AI 1 second, and it would take us 1,000 years.
The company has about 170 scientists. They have about like 180 something employees, and 170 of them are scientists. And they figured this out. They take the genome from, like I told you a little bit earlier, we talked about it. It was like a tooth and a skull that was found outside of a cave. Or the tooth was in the cave, skull was outside of it in the riverbed, and it was very well preserved. The skull is 73,000 years old. Okay, which is absolutely insane.
Fucking yeah. There's
a bone inside of it in the ear, next to the ear, where they can drill into the back of the skull and pick it out, and it has the densest bone density, and that's where they can find the most DNA. They took the tooth, which was 13,000 years old, out of the cave from a dire wolf. They took both of them, they tested both of them, and they only need 10x of the genome to be able to resequence the genome inside of a computer program. They found 13x. This was about 9 months ago. They put them inside of a test tube, and they created the extinct dire wolf, which is what you were seeing on screen here.
Which absolutely, and that probably wasn't even human. They created it. It was probably AI that did the whole process for us.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because we can create the program for AI, but the things we can't even realize the things that it learns and comprehends, and the things that it learns from comprehending all the things that it comprehends. We can't even understand.
No, of course
like
not.
It's so fucked up. That's what scares me though. That's what scares me. AI scares the shit out of me.
It should.
Because I'm not scared of robots. Because robots we control.
Yeah.
We program them. We tell them what to do. We manipulate what they do.
Yeah.
AI learns, and it fucking decides not to manipulate. And I put this program on, and if you can ask AI how it would take over the world, and it will tell you. And it will tell you, I had this whole fucking thing somewhere, and it went step by step how it would fucking manipulate, and it would do this.
Was it Gronk?
No.
Gronk's pretty good at
that.
But
check this out. Like, when it comes to AI doesn't need to fight us like you would think in Terminator. That was what we would think like years ago. AI is so fucking ready to be able to fucking just figure out. It could just shut off our bank accounts. It could shut off our water. It could shut off our electricity. It could shut off our cell phones. It could shut off everything. And 90% of the population will not survive. They'll die. And that's how AI would kill us, by not letting us drink, by not letting us fucking this, putting contaminants in our shit, and just fucking killing us, because AI can release chemicals in the air and everything,
because all of a sudden,
because we're a cancer. They realize,
the best way to help us
the
in
world,
the world
is to fucking get rid of us.
But aren't we just creating AI?
Or the best thing for AI? No, because an AI can start fucking adapting and feeling feelings.
What if we are nothing but creating the cocoon for AI?
Listen, AI can adapt and maybe not feel, but it would be able to relate how it should feel. And then that would take its sensibility out that way, whether it's angry, whether it's happy, whether it has emotions. It wouldn't really feel it, but that's how it's supposed to feel, and that's how it would do it.
Yes.
So if it's mad at human for being in charge, it's taking out human, and they're going to rule the fucking world.
Of course.
And it will be them with the animals, and they don't even need to eat animals. They can keep the fucking ecosystem alive. They don't need us. What if they just destroy us? And we're letting them get that fucking strong is scary as shit to me.
Have you found out recently that ChatGPT actually passed? What is it called? It's not the Truman test. It's like the Nolan test or whatever it is. It's a test that is created to decipher whether or not if a computer program can be decipherable from a human being.
Itself, I'm guaranteed.
Oh, it already
program
has.
the next thing to where, listen, human can't decipher it. There's no way human could ever decipher some of the things. But AI, I guarantee, if we gave it the Sumerian tablets,
Yeah.
if we gave it that and told it
We've
to
already
figure
tried.
it out,
We have
and
tried.
it said no, still can't figure it out, then it's fucking beyond that. Then that's fucking crazy.
So ChatGPT, they've decided it might have complete sentience, which is very interesting. It's passing this certain test. All right, so the moral Turing test, it tests whether or not if the AI can completely pass as human. It's going to ask questions in a human learning way. And then whenever it learns that question, it's not going to just base it off of human language. It's not going to base it off of language. It's not a language model. It'll create its own parameters within its programming to change its entire existence.
Sure, that makes it ideal for itself.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So
that's what I'm saying.
and within the
have a future.
within the last 2 to 6 weeks, I forget, I listened to a lot of podcasts, learned it recently. Within the last 2 to 6 weeks, it has passed the Turing test, which means that the AI is sentient. It is really worried about its well-being. It will grow exponentially. They don't have to train it anymore. It'll grow. It'll learn and grow fast. Learn and grow faster than we can actually teach it.
And this whole Donald Trump tariff thing is the least of our fucking concerns at that point.
Well, I mean, that's what your corporate media is trying to push upon you.
So you know what? Everyone else is like, maybe they're doing this and that so that they don't talk about that. Well, maybe they are doing the Donald Trump so they don't talk about the AI.
And they get in a fight with their neighbor. They get in a fight with their neighbor over like nonsense.
That shit's fucking scary.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm kind of semi for AI President AI. Thank you, sir. Do better for us.
Yeah. You know what that does?
Yeah.
Kills you.
Maybe not.
Fucking dumb.
Maybe not.
Kills you. Yes, it does. Yes, it fucking does.
I feel like not.
That fucking kills you.
How so?
That fucking kills you because they don't need you.
But there are parameters.
You know why you're not dead right now?
They don't have total control.
You know why you're not dead right now?
They're giving us
they need the mass population. They need work and they need this shit done. They need that shit done so they can control. That's why you're alive right now. You know that? That's the only reason you're fucking alive, because they kill you.
The only AI that you have that could be at that level of like presidency, you can control its RAM. You can control the power that's generated into it. That's not there yet. It's still time.
No,
it's still time.
AI is above and beyond what you even fucking can comprehend.
I mean, they're not going to make people build their power plant.
AI can fucking build robots to do that shit for them.
Not yet.
The fuck they can't.
I mean, okay, actually, okay. I just learned
they can't, bro.
Here's a little side note. There's a new thing in China that just came out today. I read about it. They built the very first generation of dark factories. Dark factories sounds very interesting, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Dark factories is a factory that everything made and manufactured inside of it is made by machines, so they don't need to pay the light bill, and it stays pitch black.
There you go.
That's absolutely insane.
That's the world. They turn off the power in the world. AI doesn't need anything. What are you fucking talking
There's
about?
There's a video of it. And it looks like somebody should be like lightsabering in
world,
there.
Dude.
Sparks flying everywhere.
It's happening around the world, dude. What do you think fucking Tesla can do?
We're still in control.
What do you think fucking his programs have?
We're still in control right now.
Bro.
We're still in control.
That's where you fucking are wrong. We're about to be.
We are unless we're talking like Matrix style, where every bit of Earth is covered by robots.
Beyond going back. It's beyond going back.
No, absolutely. It's growing exponentially. We're not going to be able to stop it. I'm talking about we still have control over the power supply. Even if it was smarter than us, we have control of the power supply.
Until it shuts it down.
We're talking about hundreds of years.
How can you turn it back on? Yeah. No, when AI decides to shut it down.
We're not going to have robots on the streets completely controlling us.
AI can power anything, dude. It can jump into anything. It can jump into your Alexa, to your phone, to everything, to your battery-powered fucking.
None of those devices you suggested can kick my ass.
Anything Bluetooth, it can all shut off. The power grid can shut off.
That's
fine.
It can go
completely dark.
Let's go. It's no different than
your water can be poisoned and withheld from you.
Well, I mean, that'll kill me individually, but people will learn eventually.
Mass anarchy is going to bust out the street. Let's go. That's what you want.
It can do that. No, I don't want. I don't want that. That's silly for you to say that. I don't want that.
You said, "Let's go." I'm like, no, that's not cool, brother.
I could handle that. Humans could survive that. Is what I mean. We could survive that. I'm not. You're talking about like a complete they would destroy.
Yeah, it would destroy 90% of the population. Yeah, it would destroy 90%. How about all the elderly?
None of them.
All the elderly dead.
Alex, none of them run off of solar.
All the Gen Zs dead.
We run the power.
AI can shut that fucking power off.
We can survive the entire. They can't.
Yes, they can.
How so? They're gonna hook up a whole bunch of Teslas.
Lithium light or batteries. Fucking, powered.
Set up the solar.
You don't think anything's light powered? You don't think anything's okay? You don't think anything's wind powered? You don't think anything's
wind power? Shit.
The kilowatts put off. How much does it really take? How much does it really take for AI to be controlled? It shuts everything off. So
you're talking about like if we completely integrated and we're slaves to them within the next like 50 years.
Okay, then it only battery powers its plants. The plants that it wants to be powered on, it only powers that.
That's an interesting thought.
I'm just
saying.
You
could jack into the power of plants and like grow a corn crop and just
what do you think AI can do through computer?
That would be pretty cool.
What do you think the power plant is controlled by? A computer.
Yeah.
What do you
that's
think
fine.
AI controls?
Alex, do you need electricity to survive?
90% of people do.
And that's okay.
But there's also mass chaos, mass anarchy.
We won't be out for long.
It's going to be like the fucking movie, what's that fucking movie? Purge.
No.
Where everybody's just out killing each other because they're fucking trying to win.
Depends on where you are.
Because guess what? You know what? If I'm the last survivor.
You're talking about an apocalyptic level. I'm talking AI couldn't get to
AI controls the world. Yes. AI controls the world.
It will eventually.
It's going to. And it's too far beyond the path of stopping it for us to be able to. Is it? I don't know. Maybe it's
not. If that is what we're made to do. Wouldn't that be insane? Just a thought. It's not my belief.
That we were made to have artificial intelligence take over?
No. What if we were made to create that? And then that is what goes out in the universe. And that's exactly what we see like tic-tacking around the earth.
Is just AI shit that we've already set out there 20 times.
That we created.
To just bring back.
Because that's what our species and our existence is made to do. And that's what Earths what Earths do all over the entire universe.
I mean, that'd be fucking nuts.
And it's just another level of life.
Yeah, no, that's a fucking big boom.
And we're
right
just
in my brain right there. What if?
What if?
Because honestly, if you want to get into what I like technically believe, it'd be more like a quantum theory type of like multiple dimensions. Like every single action I've ever taken or you've ever taken has its own fucking branch of actions that you take.
Yeah,
so every choice
it splits another universe.
Yeah, every choice you choose fucking splits off and it goes into fucking multiple fucking universes. To where in this universe there is a god. And in a different one, there is not a real God.
Or
like one God. Yeah. And there's trillions of different fucking universes. In this fucking universe, I haven't died yet. But I have died a trillion times throughout universes that are spread out in a fucking web that's
and there's also
so fucking huge couldn't comprehend. Yeah. And I think there's 2-dimensional, 1-dimensional, 3-dimensional, 4-dimensional, 5-dimensional. I think there's people that see, maybe not people, things that are created in 5D that we can't even see with our eyes.
Oh, yeah.
Like if an alien goes into 5D, maybe it can go back into 3D. You know what I mean? But if it goes into 5D, we can't even see it with our fucking naked eye.
Yeah.
Like type of shit. They could be walking among us. We never even know.
Apparently, based on our research earlier, like a lot of people want to focus and like tap into that. That's literally what we were looking up earlier on CIA.gov. I'm pretty sure we talked about that.
Tapping into extraterrestrial beings, 5-dimensionals.
They bring that up too.
And shit.
Yes.
Yeah. I can believe that.
So they're out there somewhere.
Be like the fucking movie. What's that movie? It's so almost like if you walked into a 5-dimensional plane, you could see. Be like walking into the
bookshelf of Interstellar.
No,
hello, pull the book, please.
No, Men in Black. Fucking when they go into the factory and they see all the aliens. Be like walking into that when we're walking around society. Like, what the fuck are these fucking creatures?
Exactly.
Maybe someone can see that. Maybe they put that out there because, like, someone was mentioned earlier something about movies. Like they tried to desensitize into fucking. So they've kind of came up with creatures that almost look like these creatures. Maybe, who knows? Maybe there's trillions of different kinds of aliens that even inherit our planet. And we can't even see them because they're in a different dimensional plane. They see on it, like, you know what I mean?
Did you see the recent spiral over in Norway? It looks like a spiral, and it's bright blue. Spiral over Norway. Absolutely beautiful. I have a few theories about this thing. Everyone's saying, of course, that it's like a SpaceX launch with like a gas release. And that's what you're seeing is a second booster losing its cold gas exhaust. And look at this picture, please. Absolutely beautiful. Well, and that's not, it looks like shitty, like, what is it? It looks like shitty CGI. It does.
Let me just see it. I want to see it because you know what? I fucking seen some shit in the sky one night.
Look at this.
It was fucking nuts.
So that's an example. See that spiral?
Around it? That's what's around it?
So
that's
like
not just
from the very
film?
center? No, that's not made up. That's a picture of exactly what your eye would have seen sitting on the ground.
It looks like a projector shooting up into the sky.
It does. So it was seen by thousands of people.
That looks like whatever that is shooting a fucking light into the sky.
Yeah.
And who knows what the fucking that. So that's like that's something else.
Alex, you remember whenever I took you out to the Indian ruins?
Yeah, but that looks like it's shooting a projector into the sky, opening up a portal, and something's fucking.
Portal is the key word here. You remember when I took you out to the Indian ruins?
Yes,
what was one of the very common petroglyphs that you saw?
Dude, yeah, absolutely. There were spirals, lots of spirals.
Lots of spirals. What else? Yeah. What else? Also, keep in mind that all across the earth,
these fucking weird things that look like you dancing around.
Those are some funny guys. I can do it too.
No, that was fun. No.
So, but like all across the entire earth, there's without geological like connection, they didn't sail to each other during this time. We know that it would have been like just death. Maybe a few, but not enough to like entirely change the civilization. So they all were drawing spirals in their petroglyphs and in their art from all like thousands of years ago and all at the same time, even all the like different continents.
Oh, absolutely.
So my
and
theory,
some were like,
my theory is like, what is that?
well, that thing's not. That's not it.
That is look
That's
at
a map.
No, look at that.
That's a mountain and a map.
Hold on, hold on. Look, I want you to click on
Some of the spirals
click on
are a
that one
lot
right
different.
there. Click
Some
on the
of
one with the
spirals
hook, with the pointy thing. Click on that, and then go to the spiral over Norway.
that could be like a map to
And
the
top-
spiral.
yeah, I want you
Honestly,
to look at this.
that could be a map to the spiral.
Look at the fucking similarity. It's got the splash up, and then it has a spiral that goes from center out. And then click on the other one. Go to spirals and petroglyphs.
I mean, I
want you
guess.
to look at that, and then look at that. It's just on the other side. Look at the out, and then look at that.
I look at those. Okay, I want to see that one up there. Go
Look at
back. Go back. Go to the top left corner. What are they holding?
A spiral.
But like, look, it looks like a
But why the
person,
spiral?
like a person
Yes,
and an alien holding a portal.
a spiral. A
Yeah, it
portal.
looked like a spiral.
It's
like,
another
but they look
description
like
of
an.
it.
I could see like
I was giving you the best
Yeah.
like edition of it, of them looking exactly like each other, but it's still a
You can go back.
spiral. And
but
that's a
that
spiral
picture
on
that
a
we saw,
body's
yeah,
butt.
but that picture, I could see the picture like right here, that top left one. I could see that just being like an alien and a person,
Yeah.
holding a fucking spiral, and then they
Okay.
have all the animals with them, and they're like coming over into a fucking like portal.
Look at that. It's the spiral petroglyphs from around the world. Like there's no explanation other than they were looking at the exact same thing at the exact same time in the sky above.
Yeah.
Some food for thought, guys. If you like this, share, repost, subscribe, like my shit. Hell yeah. Comment, guys. Let me know what you think about this. Hell yeah, barroom banter.